Lady demands that I stop what I'm doing and open my register. Okay, no problem. I, male 19, work as a cashier in a gas station in Miami Gardens, Florida. Naturally, the people that come into the store tend to be on the crazier side. The store had a line of maybe 7 people. Now, at this point, I had the register closed sign up and I was stocking the vaporizers and accessories on the shelves behind the counter. My coworker was handling the customers in line. I turn when I hear the door opening. Another lady walks in without a mask on. I politely ask, "Excuse me, miss, do you have a mask that you could put on?" She scoffed at me and rolled her eyes as she dug in her purse for a minute or two. Finally, she pulls out a ratty little mask with only one functional strap and holds it to her face while she's waiting in the line. Well, apparently, she couldn't do that for very long. She comes to the front of the line ranting and raving about how the line is too long and that we shouldn't be keeping a valued, regular customer waiting. I've been working here for 4 months and I've never seen her. I'm fairly confident I know all the regulars. I tell her that there are other things that my manager left for me to do before the end of closing and that I have to get them done. She didn't seem to like that all. I demand that you open your register right now. Okay, you got it, lady. I moved the sign and then I turned back to her. Do me a favor and stand a little bit to your right. Surprisingly, she complied, albeit with her arms crossed and what I can only assume was an angry gaze firing through her mask. Cue the malicious compliance. Next customer. I yell out into the store. It dawns on her what I'm doing, but the next customer shoots up in front of the counter before she can even fully process it. I go about this transaction as normal, despite the fact that this lady is yelling at me at the top of her lungs, no longer holding the mask to her face, mind you. I finish up with the other customer and I turn to her. She tries to yell over me, so I raise my voice a bit and try to be as stern as possible. I tell her just because my register is open now, doesn't entitle you to skip all the other people in this line who also have lives and jobs and other responsibilities. Get to the back of the line, and be respectful or I have no choice but to have you removed from the store. We don't have security, but we're 2 blocks away from a police station and one of the cool-ass officers who comes into the store gave me their personal number to use just in case we have any issues. The lady harumphs loudly and walks dejectedly to the spot in the line she had before she left. In the amount of time it took for the rest of the story to occur, more people had gotten in the line. I said the back of the line. I told her pointedly. She dropped her shoulders and walked to the back like a toddler. People, man.
Now to the comments. Mate, you handled that like a pro. Well done.
OP replied. Thanks man, honestly, I just try to be kind to be people, but too many people come in and try to abuse me and my co-workers and I've beyond had enough of it.
Kindness is the oil that reduces the friction of life. Just because my register is open now, doesn't entitle you to skip all the other people in this line who also have lives and jobs and other responsibilities. Get to the back of the line, and be respectful or I have no choice but to have you removed from the store. This is the kind of dialogue I will never say out loud and be playing again and again in my head later at night.
OP replied. Dude, I don't even know how those words escaped my mouth properly. I have a bad habit of starting sentences without knowing how it's gonna end, hahaha.
Ah, another person who needs the warning shirt. I don't think before I speak. I like surprises. I have that shirt. Do me a favor and stand a little bit to your right. Oh, this is good. My friend who works at a corporate gas station can't even comment on masking up. She tells me she can't even comment on line skippers either. I make a point in calling it out. Hey, what ya doing? Line is back here, when it occurs, because I know the staff can't.
I haven't had to deal with a deliberate line skipper yet as a customer, but I do say something if someone misses the line and would say something if someone skipped.
Pretty much every time I go to the grocery store, people try to get into line in front of me. The store has the line set up for social distancing, and it's actually kind of hard to see the line if you're not in it. Fortunately, every time I pointed out to these people that there's a line, they apologize and move to the back. Genuine mistake, unlike OP's lady. We have 3 registers where I work, and the dumbest thing I see people do is wait at an empty register instead of queuing up behind people.
Right. I tell people I'm still one person, doesn't matter that they started a new line, that really doesn't help anyone.
Haha, love it.
OP replied. LOL, I'm glad someone benefits from me dealing with these crazy ass people.
Haha, I don't have any stories for this thread, but did spend 10 years working in bars and clubs, so I feel ya bud. Beautifully executed malicious compliance. You rock. I'm never messing with you. Sincerely.
OP replied. Haha, thanks man.
I said the back of the line, I told her pointedly. She dropped her shoulders and walked to the back like a toddler. Chief kiss, bravissima. After you sent her to the back of the line, did you reclose your lane?
OP replied. I actually didn't put this in the story. I helped my coworker cut the line down since she's just a trainee and I hate having a lot of people in the store, so I took a few customers and closed it right before she tried walking up to me.
That's the real malicious compliance right there, LOL. Count your drawer first to verify the count tally first. It is policy most to do anytime you close down and open up a drawer you are responsible for and haven't had eyes on it constantly.
OP replied. This would be good advice if I gave even one duck about this job, LMAO.
It's not about giving a duck, it's about malicious compliance. It's about adding as many time-consuming steps that you can add before doing what a customer demands. I was behind a register during Mardi Gras. Customer said I shortchanged him. I counted my till. My manager counted my till 3 times each to verify. Duck that guy. Regardless of context or motive, angrily demanding, I demand that you open your register right now. In a gas station that close to the police station with so many customers around is a dumb move.
OP replied. I honestly never even considered this because it was a tiny little Hispanic lady, LOL.
Almost. No soup for you. Beautiful.
Next.
Unless she was wearing her mask properly, she shouldn't have gotten any service at all.
OP replied. I actually usually don't have an issue with broken masks / towels / rags / shirts or other non-mask face coverings as long as your nose and mouth are very firmly planted behind it.
Well, that would be wearing the masks properly. Around my location, the nose is almost always out, or the mask is on their chin. It's just ridiculous. I used to live in Miami Gardens, kinda around the corner from Tipsy. Boy do I miss it. Well, Miami in general, not really that area. Handled like the pro you are. I can't believe she didn't argue when told to go back of the line. I was working a crappy job for about 3 months between school, college, ending and my date of departure for boot camp, March. At first it was a great job. I was hired specifically for the holiday to do overnight restock, while the store was closed. Now, this was a big name toy store at the time and it's Christmas time. I bust my ass from 2200 to 0700 for a couple of weeks, as I don't want to be the reason some kid didn't get his special present from Santa. Apparently, my attitude and hard work was noticed and the overnight manager asked me to stay one morning to talk to the store manager. Okay, sure, no problem. Tired and sweaty, I meet the guy and he asks if I'd be willing to work for a few extra hours after store opening, kind of like a tour guide, as I know where everything is, as I just put it out. He wanted to help the customers get in and out and on with the rest of their days. So, I say, sure, why not, pitch in, help out, everybody wins, Christmas spirit and all that. Works great for 2 days. Then, for some reason, there is a slew of I quit, about 3 days before the big day. The video game cage, think of all video games and consoles being in a big fancy looking open-faced shipping container. Guess me talking about how I used to work at a video game store during the summers and holidays while in school was a resource they could not pass up, as most of the I quit crowd came from there. Again, sure, why not? Took 1 hour and only 1 hour to figure out the reason. Whatever the game system of the time was sold out and there was no more coming in. Period. No more. Now, there were signs on the front doors, all the registers and about 5 or 6 more on the cage, clearly stating this in big bold letters, with the obligatory "so sorry," "inconvenience," etc. The signs on the cage had the addendum, that the boxes you see are marketing displays and are empty. The screaming tantrums, demands to see the manager, don't lie to me, I see one right there, were outright insane. I pointed out the signs, explained as best I could, hey, I've been here for less than a month and not privy to the inner machinations of the store's retail and supply process. Best I can tell them is, as part of the company's marketing agreement, we were obligated to keep the displays up. Again, I pointed out the signs that were all over the cage saying these were empty display boxes. I stuck it out for 4 hours before going to the manager and telling him, in no uncertain terms, this is not what I signed on to do. Keep in mind, I'm still doing the whole overnight restocking gig as well. He loses his mind and just goes off. Now, I want to be perfectly clear here, none of this is directed at me. I am just the seasonal hire who he felt he could express his frustrations to, as I'd be gone in another week or two, tops. Looking back, I can see the reasoning, not wanting to pass this kind of attitude and frustration onto the regular employees and have them start acting the way he really wanted to every one of the, I demand to see your manager scenarios. So, I'm a nice guy, and try to be helpful and a team player, get the mission done, etc. But, I can be a right evil and vicious bastard if it is needed. I ask him, if I could give these proto-Karens. This is the 1994/95 holiday season and there was no official naming convention for raging entitled witches, Reb, at this time. A way to see these folks put in their place and enjoy the hell out of it vicariously, would he put me back on overnight restocking only. He could even yell at me and chew me out in front of the customers and tell me I'd never work here again, making them happy, and not damage his customer base. Of course, he wanted to know what I was going to do on Christmas Eve morning, but I told him it was my present to him and to trust me it was in no way illegal or dangerous. After hemming and hawing, he said okay. So, I go home and get what I needed for the next day. I come in, work the night restock, the jump in the cage when the doors open. Only difference is, that today, I have a large stack of homemade business cards next to one of the out-of-stock signs that is next to the window of the cage. 30 seconds after the door opens, I hand out my first business card without saying a word. The lady is speechless. Before she can demand to see the manager, another reb cuts in front of her and starts off on her spiel. Another business card. Another shocked silence. The manger sees a group of about 7 rebs standing in front of the cage, and comes over. He is clearly surprised that no one is howling for my blood to him yet. Excuse me, I'm the manager here, is there anything I can help anyone with? He may as well have thrown our meat into a tank of piranhas. The explosion of voices was a sight to behold and a sound to deafen. After about 5 minutes of scratching rebs waving business cards in his face, Someone actually let him have one. I think he actually hurt himself by not trying to laugh. I don't think there was a power in the verse that could keep the smile off his face though. The National School for Adult Illiteracy. We understand how embarrassing it can be to be unable to read in today's world. We are here to help. Call 1-800, I know read. Below that, in fine print, if this card offends you, then you clearly know how to read. So read the sign directly in front of you, be quiet or be gone. Have a Merry Christmas. Don't know about the Rebs, but I had a great Christmas, and so did my manager. Went back a few years later. He had one of the cards in a small frame on his desk.